Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to really dig into the sources you provide and pull out the key insights.
Exactly. Quick, thorough understanding without getting bogged down.
And today we've got a fascinating chapter. It's called The Ninth Step to Riches. And our mission really is to unpack this idea of power.
Mm-hmm. Power, and specifically how the text suggests it helps you, the listener, achieve your goals. Financial goals seem to be a big focus here.
Right. So how do we get from just, wanting something like financial success to actually getting it? The text mentions sources of knowledge.
Yeah, it lays out three main ones. First, there's something called infinite intelligence.
Okay.
Then, accumulated experience, basically, learning from the past from others.
Makes sense. History, collective wisdom.
And finally, experiment and research, stuff we figure out ourselves.
So universal knowledge, history's lessons, and our own trial and error. Sounds like that covers pretty much everything.
You'd think so, but the text argues that, well, just having access to these isn't always enough, especially for bigger plans.
How so? Like, having the ingredients doesn't mean you can bake the cake.
Something like that. Putting it all together, creating a comprehensive plan, and, crucially, acting on it effectively. That's where individual effort can sometimes fall short, according to this.
Okay, so that leads us to the mastermind.
That's the key concept introduced here. The bridge, if you will.
And let's be clear, this isn't some kind of mystical entity. The text defines it quite practically.
Very practically. It defines the mastermind as, and I'm quoting roughly here, coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony
Harmony.
between two or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose.
So teamwork, but with a real emphasis on everyone being aligned and working towards the same specific goal.
Exactly. That coordinated, harmonious effort, that synergy, is presented as the source of great power. It's positioned as essential, really.
Okay, so the mastermind creates power.
Yeah.
But what is power in this specific context? It's not just, being the boss.
No. The definition here is organized and intelligently directed knowledge.
Organized knowledge, directed intelligently.
And for financial goals, it gets even more specific. It's organized effort, sufficient to enable an individual to transmute desire into its monetary equivalent.
Right. Taking that raw want, that desire, and having an organized engine to turn it into actual money.
Precisely. And the text really, really stresses how vital this is.
I remember seeing some pretty strong statements.
Oh, yeah. Like, power is required for the accumulation of money. Caps and exclamation point in the original, I believe.
Well,
And also, power is necessary for the retention of money after it has been accumulated.
so you needed to get rich, and you needed to stay rich.
That's the argument. This organized power, generated through this mastermind concept, is fundamental.
Okay, let's dig into how this mastermind actually generates that power. The text mentions an economic aspect first. How does collaborating help financially?
Well, think about the practical advantages. You surround yourself with people, advisors, partners, collaborators who bring different skills, different knowledge, different connections.
Right, a diverse team.
But crucially, they're all working in harmony towards your definite purpose. It's a strategic alliance.
And the claim is that this kind of setup is behind most big fortunes.
A very strong claim, yes, that this cooperative alliance has been the basis of nearly every great fortune. The text basically says, if you understand and apply this, it could fundamentally change your financial life.
That's quite a statement.
Yeah.
Now, there's also this other side mentioned, the psychic phase. This sounds a bit less concrete.
It definitely moves into more abstract territory. It talks about spiritual forces.
Okay.
The core idea presented is that no two minds ever come together without thereby creating a third invisible, intangible force, which may be likened a third mind.
A third mind, created just by two minds working together harmoniously.
That's the concept. It links it to energy and matter, suggesting the human mind itself is a form of energy, perhaps with a spiritual component.
So when minds align,
When they coordinate in harmony, the text suggests their spiritual energy units form an affinity. And that affinity is this psychic phase, a sort of emergent mental energy field.
so it's not just pooling knowledge, it's like creating a bigger combined brain power that's more than the sum of its parts.
That's a good way to put it, yeah. A synergistic mental energy that boosts everyone involved.
Fascinating. And the text uses Andrew Carnegie as a major example here, right?
Absolutely. Carnegie, the steel tycoon, he apparently attributed his entire fortune to his mastermind group.
And this wasn't just two or three people.
No, it was about 50 people, All experts in different aspects of steel manufacturing and marketing, all coordinated, all working in harmony.
50 minds focused on one goal.
Wow.
Did he talk about the psychic part?
The text doesn't explicitly say if Carnegie thought in those terms, but it insists that analyzing pretty much anyone who's built a significant fortune
Hmm.
will reveal they used the mastermind principle, whether they consciously labeled it that way or not.
And then comes that really bold claim again.
Yep.
Great power can be accumulated through no other principle. It leaves no room for doubt about its importance in this philosophy.
Okay. To help visualize this power generation, there's that analogy about the brain and a battery. I found that quite helpful.
It is a useful analogy. It compares the individual human brain to an electric battery,
Drawing power
from what the text calls a mysterious, unifying force of the universe, sort of tapping into a larger energy field as source.
like plugging into the mains in a way.
Kind of. And the analogy continues. Just like hooking up multiple batteries gives you more power.
Right. More voltage, more amps.
A group of brains coordinated and in harmony generates more thought energy than just one brain alone.
And this extra energy isn't just floating around, it benefits everyone in the group.
Exactly. That increased energy becomes available to every individual mind within that mastermind alliance. It sort of supercharges the whole group.
So building these harmonious alliances isn't just about dividing labor, it's about multiplying mental power. The text gives other examples too, like Henry Ford. Right. Ford's story is compelling because he started, with very little. Poverty, not much formal education.
Yeah, humble beginnings.
But his huge leap forward, the text argues, came after he formed close friendships, close alliances with people like Thomas Edison, Harvey Firestone, John Burroughs, Luther Burbank.
Big names.
Yeah.
Titans of industry and thought.
Absolutely. And the text suggests Ford didn't just get advice, he was able to, and this is a quote, absorb their vibrations of thought.
Vibrations of thought.
Yeah, it sounds a bit dated, maybe, but the idea is he benefited from their collective intelligence, their experience, their knowledge, even their spiritual forces. It was a practical application of the mastermind principle. He tapped into their brain power.
Makes sense. He surrounded himself with brilliance and absorbed it. Then there's Gandhi. Completely different kind of power.
Totally different, but presented as an even more striking example in some ways. No army, no wealth in the traditional sense.
Right.
Yet the text calls him possibly the most powerful man alive at the time. Why? Because he induced over 200 million people to cooperate.
200 million.
In harmony, mind and deed aligned for a single definite purpose, India's independence.
That scale is just staggering.
It really is. The text points out how hard it is to get even two people in perfect harmony. So achieving that with millions, it underscores the immense potential power in unified, harmonious action.
Truly incredible. So
Yes.
all this power, whether it's Carnegie's fortune or Gandhi's influence, ultimately stems from somewhere. The text points to an ultimate source.
Yes, it circles back to infinite intelligence as the primary source, the ultimate powerhouse, you could say.
And the mastermind group is like the conduit, the access point.
That seems to be the idea. When people coordinate harmoniously for a definite purpose, they create an alliance, a channel that allows them to tap into this great universal storehouse of infinite intelligence.
And this source is different from, say, learning from books or doing experiments.
Very different in one key aspect, according to the text. Accumulated experience and research rely on our senses, which can be flawed, right? We can misinterpret, make mistakes. But infinite intelligence, the text claims, does not err. It's presented as infallible. The source geniuses and great leaders tap into.
Wow. That's a deep concept. Bringing it back down to earth slightly, there's that metaphor of this stream of life. How does that fit in?
It's a powerful image. Imagine this great unseen stream of power flowing constantly.
Okay.
It has two sides, two currents. One side flows towards wealth, success, positivity. The other flows towards poverty, failure, negativity.
And we're all floating in this stream.
We are. And the crucial point is the text insists we control which current we're in.
How?
Through our thinking process. Our dominant thoughts, our mindset steer us to one side or the other.
So positive thinking attracts the positive current, negative thinking the negative one.
Essentially, yes. Lots of people wish for riches, float near the positive side maybe, but they lack the direction. Only those with a definite plan and that burning desire we talked about before can reliably grab the oars and pull themselves firmly into the positive current.
And the mastermind principle, the other ideas in the text, those are the oars.
They're presented as the oars, yes. The tools to navigate, And this is critical, you have to use them. Understanding isn't enough. Application is everything. You have to actively row.
Makes sense. You could have the best map and the best boat, but if you don't row, you drift.
Exactly. And the text notes that things like economic downturns can sweep people over to the negative side. This whole philosophy is partly aimed at helping people row back.
So for you listening, it's worth asking yourself, which side of the stream do you feel you're on right now? And are you actively using your oars?
A very practical reflection. The text also mentions how poverty and riches aren't static. They can swap places.
How so?
Well, poverty often doesn't require a plan. It can just happen if things slide. But riches, witches, the text says, are shy and timid. They need to be planned for, attracted, cultivated.
And the primary way to attract them, according to this chapter,
Is by consciously creating and using the power of the mastermind.
Okay, so let's try and summarize the key takeaways from this deep dive. Power, in this context, is crucial.
Absolutely. It's organized knowledge and effort, intelligently directed, not just random action.
In the mastermind, this idea of harmonious coordination with others towards a specific goal is presented as the non-negotiable way to generate that power.
Right. It's seen as fundamental for achieving big goals, especially financial ones, and also for holding on to that success.
And it has those two angles, the practical economic benefits of smart collaboration.
And this more, let's say, subtle, psychic, or energetic dimension where aligned minds create something greater than the sum of their parts.
It definitely challenges you to think beyond just your own efforts.
It really does. It pushes you to consider who you ally with and how you work together.
So for you listening, the real question becomes, how can you apply this? How could forming or participating in a mastermind alliance focused on harmony and a definite purpose help you achieve what you're aiming for?
Think about your biggest goal right now. Who could help you achieve it? How could you create that necessary harmony and coordination?
There may be a final thought to leave you with. The text presents the mastermind as a powerful oar for navigating that stream of life. As you reflect on your own journey, what other oars, what other skills or principles might you need alongside collaboration to truly steer yourself effectively towards the positive current and reach your ultimate destination? Something to ponder.